Hi, I'm Dr. Melita Tate with Grassroots Healthcare, and we're here today to talk about a subject that is very dear to most Americans, and that is sugar consumption, and namely a sugar-free detox, or a way to come off of sugar where it's not so much in control of our lives. The reason why sugar has become such a big part of our lives is that it has many properties that are similar to a drug. By that I mean sugar does things that we would expect from addictive substance. It is released into the bloodstream in a very quick fashion, higher than you could get from any natural substance. It also directly acts on the neurotransmitters in the brain to give you an immediate sensation of pleasure. So one of the ways that I've been able to talk to my patients and find out or help us to understand that we do have this addictive relationship with sugar is to go through the CAGE questions. And if you don't know what those are, they are used to identify alcohol or other similar drug addictions. And they are the following, and I'd like you to ask yourself these about sugar. Have you ever tried to cut back and been unsuccessful? Have you ever felt annoyed when someone suggested you decrease your consumption? Have you ever felt guilty about the amount that you consume? Also, have you ever felt physical symptoms in the morning, like you needed an eye opener, either shakiness or jitteriness or sick feeling because you hadn't eaten? So those questions kind of really bring to light the fact that we aren't really free to choose whether or not we want to have sugar or not. One of the things my patients bring up frequently when we start talking about these kind of issues is that they want the freedom to choose the foods that they want to eat. And when asked if they had a plate of cookies or a big, nice, doughy pizza in front of them to refuse it, a lot of times my patients say that they can't. And that is one of the properties of sugar, and it's engineered that way on purpose. So if you'll think back with me to the 1980s when we all went low fat to decrease cardiovascular disease, obesity, and diabetes, you'll recall that we didn't really address the sugar issue. There were some studies done at the time that had suggested that fat was the problem, but there were other studies being done that showed that it was actually sugar. And if you look back today, you can see that the studies that showed fat was the problem were funded by the sugar companies, and also those studies were flawed. 30 years later, we've based all of our science and all of our recommendations as physicians to patients, as parents to our children, on those earlier studies, and we have more cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and obesity than ever before. And what we're finding is that sugar is the problem, not the fats. A lot of my patients have seen major improvements when they have been able to cut sugar and carbohydrates that are not natural, mostly the processed kinds of sugar, out of their diets. Once our patients have completed the 3-week sugar-free detox, they have much more control of their sugar cravings and are able to see a plate of cookies or a pizza and walk by it. And I know it's hard to believe, but it's really amazing some of the other great benefits they've seen. We've had patients lose a great number of pounds just in those 3 weeks. A lot of times it's related to inflammation that's been in their body, so they release a lot of inflammation and a lot of water weight that they've been retaining. We've seen patients have their numbers for diabetes go down into the pre-diabetic or even lower ranges. We've seen patients be able to come off blood pressure medications just by losing 5 to 10 pounds. That's what we want to see. We want to see our patients regain and get back their health. And so much like a smoker, their taste buds come back, the same thing happens when we get sugar out of our diet. Natural sugars begin to taste sweet again, and the flavors and things are more appreciated. So that's what we want for our patients. If any of our patients are experiencing symptoms of inflammation in their joints or not being able to lose weight even when they cut back on their calories, we strongly recommend a sugar detox.